Hello and welcome to the OrdoCast. This is episode 6, the Imperators Locker. And you may have noticed something odd, and that is compared to the other 5 episodes, the intro audio has changed. And unfortunately, it's not by choice, as the original authors of the music decided it was no longer going to be royalty free and contacted the publisher, who then contacted YouTube, who in turn have decided to auto-monetize all previous episodes and all other videos on YouTube that might have the audio to receive some royalties from ads placed. So that's why it's changed. And after all, why should you guys have to watch an advert that pays someone something that's made and distributed for free anyway? And I'm not about to start to ask for donations or charging for an episode, and never will. So that's why the change is there. Hopefully it's a good change. Go to the poll that's going to be in the post and cast your vote. And if you don't like it, if it's a no, we can try a different tune next time. So, let's get on with digging into the Imperators Locker and finding out some of his dirt and dark and dirty secrets. And we start off with promotions news. Now, other than one promotion this week, there is no other promotion or AP news. However, I do know Zozo's hard at work on it, and we'll have it posted in a few days' time, so keep your fingers crossed and check the list in a few days. But a big congratulations to the one person that has been promoted, and that's Kishishima Dragonash, who's been promoted to the rank of SG5. And we have a couple of announcements. So, as mentioned in episode 5, Transmission from Behind the Lines, the call went out for 2 new budding presenters to join me here on the OrdoCast. And I'm happy to announce the first member of the team. So join me in welcoming Kishishima to the OrdoCast, not as a guest presenter, but as a permanent presenter. So hold on to your butts, because it's going to get weird up in here. And there's one spot open, so if you are interested, please send me a message via the forums. And also, big congratulations to Angelin01, the winner of the $30 Steam bundle there, for a multiplayer level design idea Angelin submitted for the upcoming Ordo Imperialis game, Black Target, Black November. I will send you a private message about that, Angelin, and let you know what's going to happen. So, moving on now into chapter news, and we start with Star Wars: The Old Republic. And the devs want your idea for mounts. A post went out recently that the Star Wars Cartel Market team is looking for your ideas and suggestions for new mounts to add. And they've said this: ever wander the galaxy, come across a creature and think it would be an awesome mount, perhaps the fierce corrupted Geo-Beast of Oricon, or the massive but gentle Bormus of Balmora? Well, we want to hear about it. Please use thread to tell us what you would like to see implemented as a mount, be it a creature or vehicular. When offering suggestions, we do ask that you please be as specific as possible and provide images when you can. The more information we have about exactly what you want to see, the easier it is for us to send our expert creature handlers out for investigation or supply work orders to our manufacturers. Please be safe when investigating some creatures. A single misstep can lead to catastrophic results. Be safe out there. So there you go. BioWare are getting more in tune with the community, asking you guys exactly what you want as a mount instead of just their ideas. Also, there has been an updating on a previous news article that was featured back in the previous AutoCast on wind trading from episode 5, and there has been an update on that from Eric Musco. And he says, "Hey folks, with season 5 recently ending, I thought I'd give an update on what we have been doing to curb players who continue to win trade. To recap from before, players who were caught win trading were receiving actions ranging from a warning up to having their character ratings reset. Specifically, the character who were caught doing the win trading itself. Depending on the character history, this can also include suspension time as well. Over the course of the last few seasons, we have seen an overall decline in win trading action, and we hope that you have seen that as well. However, in a handful of cases, there are players who continue to win trade, even after repeated warnings and having character ratings reset. We believe that players such as these are using one character to win trade, potentially boosting a friend's character, and then playing more legitimately on their own characters. This way, they feel they're avoiding punishment on those characters that they care about while breaking our terms of service on other characters. In lieu of this, for those handful of players, we have added another level of action to curb this behaviour. If a player is found to have repeated warnings, character rating resets and still continues this action, we are resetting the ranked PvP rating for every one of their characters on their account. This is along with any suspension time which can accompany the terms of service violation. And of course this is all part of our continued effort to keep ranked PvP fair for all players. It has always been a minority of players participating in win trading, and we are happy to see that this has declined over time. We are seeing a similar decline in trolls as well, so keep reporting those players. Thanks everyone, and that's from Eric Musco. Also, very recently we saw Game Update 3.3 hit, and I will be placing the patch notes into the OrdoCast post for this episode, and also you can find them in the Star Wars The Old Republic thread. This patch does see the release of the new galactic stronghold, Yavin 4, and the new Togruta species. Now, I will be honest, it's nice to have another species, but I wasn't all too excited about it, as it's pretty much just the same heads as every other species uses. It's just, yeah, they just look like Togruta. But the colouring and customization options are absolutely fantastic, if I'm to be honest. And it's available for 600 cartel coins, either through the cartel market or in the image design station. And there's a whole bunch of other bug fixes, updates to war zones, and the new cartel pack that is also out. Moving on, Guild Wars 2 saw a rather interesting post, and it's about the Tempest Elemental Elite specialization. Again, as always with PlanetSide 2, it's the same every single time we do an AutoCast. There is just so much information there that it's impossible to fit into just one AutoCast, because time would go on hours. But from what I've seen, it's a really interesting post. Bolstering the Tempest, for instance, covers healing, Sound of Power. There's a lot there, and that will all be thrown into a spoiler for Guild Wars 2. And I know I should be showing you Guild Wars 2 players some love, but really there is just too much information. For those of you that play it, you know just how exhausting it is to read all this information. But there is some news for WildStar this time around, and that is the Great Stat Reboot in preparation for free-to-play. Now, for those of you that play WildStar, this probably won't be new news to you. However, those that are thinking of either getting back into it or haven't seen the latest notes, this might be somewhat interesting. So as WildStar's upcoming free-to-play transition is bringing a whole host of changes, possibly the most controversial, however, is the news that all of a character's base stats are to be swept away. Bid farewell to Moxie, Finesse, Insight and others, as a new foundation is being brought in to replace them. In order to understand why these changes are so crucial, we caught up with Steve Engel, lead designer at Carbine Studios, to learn more. You can read Engel's own thoughts on the subject in a blog spot over on WildStar's official site, but the key message is this. The stat refactoring isn't some kind of dumbing down. Instead, it's designed to make gear choices and stat priority easier to understand, regardless of the class you choose to play. Rather than chasing Finesse as a spell slinger or Moxie as an Esper, it'll be Assault Power that we're going after. There is quite a long post. I have read some sections of it, such as armor. The more you have of it, the more incoming damage is reduced. That's obvious. Health makes the green bar get bigger, great for those who are tanking, and so on and so on, so on, so on, so on. There's lots of information there. Again, that will be thrown into a spoiler under its own section, under the chapter discussions. And so that does it for chapter news, unfortunately. There's not really much news of much else going on, but I will keep my eyes open for the next AutoCast. So we'll move on to game news now. And it's been announced that John Smedley has stepped down. The H1Z1 and EverQuest publisher Daybreak Game Company is getting a new boss. John Smedley is stepping down as President and Chief Executive Officer of Daybreak. The publisher confirmed that the current Chief Operating Officer Russell Shanks will step in as the new President of the company. The CEO departure comes in the wake of a cyber attack that took many of his company game servers offline. But Smedley, who helped pioneer the massively multiplayer online model and free-to-play strategy on home gaming consoles, also isn't gone for good. He's planning to take on a different role at the publisher in future. The press release that came out stated that I can confirm that John Smedley will be taking some time off from the company for the near term and transitioning to a different role to be determined. This transition comes at an interesting time for the executive, the company and the wider industry at large. Smedley most recently made headlines for threatening to sue Julius Kivamaki, a cybercriminal and member of the cyber vandal group Lizard Squad. One of the crimes that Kivamaki was partly responsible for was a bomb threat that grounded a plane that Smedley was flying on, and earlier this month Kivamaki was convicted of more than 50,000 counts of computer-related crimes in Finland, but he didn't receive any jail time and only received a 2-year commuted sentence. Again, there is more information in the post which will be added to a spoiler. And it really is interesting, and I know a lot of people bash John Smedley of late, but in a way, really, we should be thanking this guy. I mean, this is the guy who, when Sony turned around and said, we want you to make a game that can reach people and allow them to play together on a large scale, he went and made EverQuest. This is the guy behind it. This is the guy who sat there and dreamt up the multiplayer aspects for Star Wars Galaxies and for many others. And also, there is a little hint in there to an old IP they're reinvigorating under the name of Daybreak Game Studios, so it's well worth reading just to see what that is. And also some other interesting news, just touching back on to Star Wars. And it seems that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, which came out for the PC in 2005 and arrived on Steam about 3 years ago, has had a rather interesting news update. And that is that changes were made as part of the release for the Max Linux and Steam OS versions. And there's some new goodies in it for everyone. KOTOR 2 on Steam now supports controllers, has widescreen resolutions, 5K resolution, and for those of you that don't quite understand what it is, that's 5120 by 2880 res. It has Steam Cloud saves, which means, of course, you can access your save games from anywhere on Steam-capable hardware. And there are also now 37 achievements on offer. But most interesting of all, the Sith Lords Restored Content mod, which was available back in 2012, has also been rolled out into the game via Steam Workshop. It's a fan-made mod which was first released in public back in 2009, I believe, and then also fixed a number of bugs and restored a lot of the content that Obsidian just didn't have time to add because the game was rushed out. It's a very short list of changes, but as updates go, it's really sizable stuff. And I mean, the addition of controller support for that kind of a game is huge. And high resolutions, it just means that now KOTOR is a practical modern day game. It looks great at high resolution. It really does. It looks like it was made 2 years ago. And of course, who doesn't love achievements in their games? So if you're a Star Wars lover and you've loved the KOTOR series, go and get it on Steam if you haven't already. It's really, really cheap right now, and it's well worth the download. And moving on to other gaming news, we have some news of Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. And let's face it, there wasn't much doubt that Rise of the Tomb Raider would eventually make it to PC. Microsoft even admitted their Xbox One deal was a timed exclusive just days after it was announced. Still, it's nice to have confirmation that the sequel to Tomb Raider's 2013 hugely successful reboot is heading our way. And it's even nicer to have a date, and that's going to be early 2016. That's only a short period after the Xbox One and Xbox 360 release date of November 10th. But however, PlayStation 4 owners have it a little bit worse. They'll have to wait a full year, eventually getting their hands on the game around November, December of 2016. Rise of the Tomb Raider will launch on Steam and the Windows 10 store, and for more information on the game, check out previous E3 footage or head to the Tomb Raider website. And so now we move on to some platform news, and we're going to start with Origin. In an email sent to Origin users recently, as far as up to today and yesterday, Electronic Arts announced that Origin accounts will soon be renamed EA accounts. The change will apparently have no impact on you whatsoever. In a press release, it was said that in the coming weeks, your Origin account will be renamed to an EA account to better represent all of EA games and services. Your account identity, preferences, and order history will remain unchanged. You will continue to use this account and the same login credentials to access all EA games, websites, services, including Origin. An EA rep confirmed that there won't be any functional changes to the surface. We've changed our player account branding from Origin to EA to represent all of EA's properties and services to our players use to interact with us. The company said in a follow-up statement, your Origin account credentials are now your EA credentials. Seemingly no need to be alarmed then. This looks like a branding exercise designed to make Origin more obviously identifiable as an EA property. It's when they start using the corporate logo Cat Lions that we need to worry. Well, probably. And in other platform news, we come up with Windows 10. And in an email recently, for those of you that have decided to pre-order and pre-install Windows 10, you would have had an email recently saying that we want to give every customer a great upgrade experience. So we're rolling it out in an organized way to manage high demand to make sure that the upgrade is right for your device. After July 29th, when Windows 10 is ready for your device, it will download in the background. You'll then get a notification to schedule your upgrade right away or at another time that's convenient for you. And in addition to that, there is some news for AMD graphics card users. And that is that AMD's Catalyst 15.7 drivers are out, and with them comes a batch of welcome updates. Windows 10 support is the headlining feature, which of course includes support for DirectX 12 as well. All AMD graphics cards back to the 7000 series will be compatible with DirectX 12, though that doesn't mean every card will support every DX12 feature. The bulk of the driver meat comes in the form of FreeSync support for PCs running cards in crossfire mode. For those unfamiliar, FreeSync is AMD's method for synchronizing your monitor and graphics card refresh rates as a means of avoiding screen tearing without the hassle of VSync. And so, the current drivers for FreeSync, the FreeSync launch left multi-GPU setups high and dry, but now Crossfire users can get in on the variable refresh fun. Virtual super resolution support has expanded heartily. AMD's take on the downsampling was originally only available on the R9285, R9290, R9, the 290X and the R9 295X2 series cards. Now those who own anything in the new Radeon R300 series, the Radeon R7 260 and above GPUs, and many of the A series 7400K and above APUs can reap the benefits of VSR. The feature makes a game run at higher resolutions than the monitor's native resolution, and the image is then downsampled, which produces smoother edges as more pixel detail is being crammed into a smaller picture. The frame rate target control launched alongside the Radeon R300 drivers in June, but has just opened by the new R9 Fury X and the R7 260 and the above series. So overall, it's nice to see AMD expand features previously locked out to specific GPU series, but it remains to be seen how those drivers and GPUs will handle Windows 10 and DX12 until it's released on July 29th. We'll also be checking out how the Catalyst 15.7 affects R9 Fury X performance, if at all, in a future OrdoCast. So now we move on to entertainment news, and we have news of the World of Warcraft film. And let's just say that it's pretty much done. Duncan Jones has said that if the film is a success, it could become a trilogy. If it goes well, I'm pretty convinced that Chris Metzen from Blizzard and I have a very good idea of what story we could tell in 3 films, given the opportunity, he continued. He'd like to return to direct future films in the franchise, but also wants to get to work on a pet project called Mute. If I can squeeze in Mute before Warcraft even comes out, then it would give me my kind of little indie I wanted to make, and I'd love to jump back into this, he said. There's no real news other than that on the new World of Warcraft movie. However, we can expect it. It does have a release date, and that's going to be June 10th, 2016. So for those of you who are World of Warcraft players who are just dreading this, you can go and see what's either going to be an epic fail or an epic win. June 10th next year. Also in film news, the freaky animatronics in Freddy's Family Diner are set to bring horror into the big screen with Five Nights at Freddy's the movie. YouTube has released a fan-made video which became the fans' benchmark for the film. Game creator Scott Cawthon is set to be involved in movie production. And it has been confirmed that the Five Nights at Freddy movie is coming up as Warner Brothers bought the rights last April. While the wait for the cast and crew continues, it has been confirmed that the movie will be produced by The Grudge's producer Roy Lee, as well as Seth Grahame-Smith. The Vampire Hunters producer, David Katzenberg, will also produce the upcoming movie. Meanwhile, following Hollywood's not-so-good track record of making movie versions of famous video games, a video has been previously released on YouTube by Typhoon Cinema and Deviant Picture Films. I will throw it in the description below. The video surely did spook us out as viewers, as it has garnered generally positive comments from the fans, making it the benchmark of what kind of movies Warner Brothers should make. But it now seems like the movie will come out well as the game's creator. Scott Cawthon also reportedly be involved in the movie's production and will ensure the movie will also bear the elements that the fans loved about the game. While we wait for new details for the movie, a new trailer had been released for the upcoming chapter of the game Five Nights at Freddy's 4. The horror now escalates as the freaky animatronics have now followed the gamers in the one place they thought they were safe, their home. And also Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter, is available now on Steam. Scott Cawthon did a bit of a sneaky on us and released it early. He said, the game's done, so why not? And lastly, following the massive success of Jurassic World, Universal Pictures have confirmed that a sequel is in production. The original movie stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are set to return. The untitled movie opens June 22nd, 2018. And so we move on to tech news now, and a little something I found on Kickstarter which I thought was really interesting, especially for laptop users. And it's a little something called Slide and Joy. Ultra thin, light, portable and freestanding. Users can easily unfold it, adding 1 or 2 extra screens to your desktop or laptop computer. Like a magnet, users can attach it to the back of their laptop and enjoy a full panoramic display and share content through a 180-degree rotation. Slide and Joy provides users from different brands and sizes revolutionary system that fits to the back of their screens to double or even triple users' visual display in high definition. Now this looks really good actually, and it's great because the whole thing is powered either off USB 2 or USB 3 depending on the age of your laptop, and it comes in either 13, 15 or 17 inch variants in either 1 extra screen or 2 extra screens. And yes, it works for games. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'll be throwing the information for this along with the YouTube video and the link to their Kickstarter into the post below, so make sure you check that out. And well, what can I say? That's it. That is OrdoCast episode 6, the Imperators Locker, in a nutshell, really. There's not really much more I can say about it, except that hey, I hope to see you next time. Come back for OrdoCast Episode 7, Ballistic Shadows, where we'll have our new presenter, Kishoshima Dragonash, here with us. And if you want to take and snag that last presenter spot on the OrdoCast, just send me a message through the forums. And until then, I will catch you the next time.